In a significant setback for SpaceX and the broader space industry, a recent Falcon 9 launch has encountered a serious anomaly, leaving 20 Starlink satellites stranded in a rapidly decaying orbit. This incident, which occurred on July 11th, has sent ripples through the space community and raised questions about the reliability of one of the most frequently used launch vehicles in the world. The launch, designated as Group 9-3, was intended to deploy the latest batch of Starlink satellites into their designated orbit. However, things didn't go as planned. According to SpaceX, the upper stage of the Falcon 9 rocket experienced an anomaly during its crucial second burn. This burn was meant to circularize the orbit before deploying the satellites. While the stage managed to deploy the satellites, it did so in an orbit with a perigee, or lowest point, of just 135 kilometers, far lower than intended. This extremely low orbit has placed the satellites in what SpaceX describes as an enormously high drag environment. The atmospheric drag at this altitude is so severe that the satellite's perigee is reducing by at least 5 kilometers per orbit. Despite the best efforts of satellite controllers, including attempts to fire the spacecraft's electric thrusters at maximum levels, SpaceX has concluded that recovery of these satellites is unlikely. Elon Musk, the CEO of SpaceX, likened the rescue attempt to running the ion thrusters at their equivalent of Warp 9, referencing Star Trek. However, he admitted that this effort would probably not succeed but was worth attempting nonetheless. The fate of these 20 Starlink satellites seems sealed. They are expected to re-enter Earth's atmosphere and completely burn up. SpaceX has assured that these satellites do not pose a threat to other orbital assets or to public safety, thanks to their very low orbits and a design that ensures complete disintegration upon re-entry. While the loss of 20 satellites is a setback for the Starlink constellation, the broader implications of this launch failure are far more significant. The Falcon 9 has been the workhorse of the commercial space industry, with over 300 consecutive successful launches prior to this incident. Its grounding, even if temporary, will have wide-ranging effects on a variety of customers and missions. The Federal Aviation Administration, or FAA, has announced that it will require a thorough investigation into the anomaly. The FAA will be involved in every step of the investigation process and must approve SpaceX's final report, including any corrective actions before allowing a return to flight. This regulatory oversight ensures that public safety remains paramount, but it also means that the timeline for resuming Falcon 9 launches is uncertain. The ripple effects of this grounding are already being felt across the space industry. Near-term missions facing delays include the Arctic Satellite Broadband mission, which was expected to launch this month, and the Transporter 11 rideshare mission scheduled for July. Both were to be launched on Falcon 9 rockets from Vandenberg Space Force Base. Perhaps more high-profile is the delay to the Polaris Dawn mission, a private astronaut flight that was set to send 4 people on a Crew Dragon spacecraft to test high-altitude operations and a new SpaceX-developed spacesuit. This mission, backed by billionaire Jared Isaacman, was scheduled for launch as soon as July 31st from Florida. Isaacman remains optimistic, stating his confidence that SpaceX will quickly identify the cause and ensure that the most cost-effective and reliable launch vehicle keeps delivering payload to orbit. However, not everyone in the industry shares this optimism. Some industry officials, speaking on condition of anonymity, have painted a more dire picture. They suggest that even in a best-case scenario, where SpaceX quickly identifies and addresses the problem, some customers' missions could face months of delays as the company reshuffles its manifest. If the Falcon 9 remains grounded for an extended period, the consequences could be severe for much of the space industry. Many companies and organizations have grown reliant on the Falcon 9's high flight rate and availability, with few viable alternatives for timely launches. One of SpaceX's biggest customers, NASA, is also closely monitoring the situation. The space agency had several important missions scheduled on Falcon 9 rockets in the coming months. These include the launch of a Northrop Grumman Cygnus cargo spacecraft to the International Space Station in early August, followed by the Crew Dragon launch in mid-August. NASA has not yet stated its criteria for allowing these missions to proceed, particularly the crewed flight. It's likely that the agency will require a certain number of successful Falcon 9 launches before clearing it for crewed missions. This cautious approach is understandable, given the paramount importance of crew safety. Another major NASA mission potentially affected is the Europa Clipper spacecraft, scheduled for launch on a Falcon Heavy rocket, which uses a similar upper stage to the Falcon 9. This mission has a tight 3-week launch window opening on October 10th. However, the Europa Clipper is facing its own challenges, with NASA investigating problems with transistors on the spacecraft that may not survive the harsh radiation environment around Jupiter. NASA has issued a statement emphasizing that crew safety and mission assurance are top priorities. The agency noted that SpaceX has been forthcoming with information and is including NASA in the ongoing anomaly investigation. NASA has promised to provide updates on its missions, including potential schedule impacts, as more information becomes available. This incident serves as a stark reminder of the inherent risks and challenges in space exploration. Even with a track record of over 300 successful launches, a single anomaly can have far-reaching consequences. It highlights the importance of rigorous testing, thorough investigations, and the need for redundancy in the space launch industry. As SpaceX works to identify and rectify the issue, the space community will be watching closely. The outcome of this investigation and the speed at which Falcon 9 can return to flight will have significant implications for the near-term future of space exploration and satellite deployment. For SpaceX, this incident presents both a challenge and an opportunity. While it's a setback for their launch schedule and potentially their reputation, their response to this anomaly will be crucial. If they can quickly identify the problem, implement a solution, and return to flight with the same or improved reliability, it could further cement their position as a leader in the launch industry. In the meantime, other launch providers may see increased demand as companies and organizations seek alternatives to maintain their mission schedules. This could lead to a short-term reshuffling of the commercial launch landscape. As we await further updates from SpaceX and the FAA, this incident serves as a powerful reminder of the complexities and risks involved in space exploration. It underscores the need for continued innovation, rigorous safety protocols, and the resilience to overcome setbacks in our ongoing quest to explore and utilize the space environment.